What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a little discussion vlog video regarding the rival Nemesis. What lies beyond? What is next? I've been using the rival Nemesis in a lot of videos and off camera a bunch, and it's just so awesome. Full auto, rival precision, 100 round capacity that doesn't require magazines, so you can quick reload on the fly. You don't have to load up those mags. And I know most of you who are watching all my content are like, Coop, I've heard you say this like 30 times. Stop repeating yourself. We get it. The Nemesis is OP as f. Yeah, okay, shut up now. But I can't help but repeat myself. It's like diet and exercise, you know, the keys to happiness and health. Yeah, but everybody just ignores that. It's like, oh, diet and exercise and sleep. Yeah, whatever, nerd. Yeah, but it's actually super important, like the rival Nemesis. I'm gonna continue repeating myself because it's freaking epic. But it begs the question, what's next? Hasbro's been slowly evolving the rival line. This is the only time I can think of where the successors are actually superior blasters, kind of making the previous versions obsolete. There is a good reason to use the Apollo, but the Zeus, why would you use that? Lower capacity than the Chaos and the Nemesis. It's still heavy with the batteries, loud with the flywheels, so if you don't like that stuff, go Springer. But if you want the flywheels, why not go Chaos or Nemesis? And once you use the Chaos, why not go Nemesis? You know, you're just constantly moving. But what is next? The rival Nemesis. It's freaking epic. It isn't just rhetorical just to piss you off and say, okay, I'm actually going to give you my opinion now. Well, it is rhetorical since you can't really reply. You're in a video. I'm in a video. I'm trapped in your computer. You're not. Yeah, you're not. I'm going to stop. So, what can make the Nemesis better? Now, I want to be straight with you. I'm not complaining about the Nemesis. Well, I do have a few complaints, but I'm only saying potentially, theoretically, hypothetically, what's next in the future. First, they can make it smaller. It's a big blaster. It's a heavy blaster. Even with the rechargeable, I know some smaller people are going to struggle with it. The rival line's not guided towards young people, but even bigger people, I'm a monster. Yeah, I get that. Having a smaller blaster, even if you're like freaking Dwayne Johnson up in here, you can still go faster if you have a lighter blaster. There's no reason to have it bigger than it needs to be. Giggity goo. It'll be a serious challenge though, because the current draw, you have to have a big battery to run that system, and a hopper is pretty much the most space efficient ammo capacity you can have. You can't downsize this without directly damaging your capacity. Most of this stuff in here is necessary. You know, it's the conveyor feeding system and the flywheels. There's a little bit of fat that can be shed, but not much. That's a bunch of dead space. That still ticks me off. They have this little wall here. You could have a slightly bigger hopper without it. Yeah, I'm getting minor gripes here. I told you that. And the battery takes up almost all of this area, and you need a big battery to run this much electrical system. So where can you shed weight? That part's rhetorical. I don't have a solution to that without giving some type of compromise, whether it be capacity or if you have a smaller battery, you might not be able to play quite as long. I doubt they're going to sacrifice performance because the rival 100 FPS standard shouldn't change. So where else can they go? I don't know. Maybe a small battery pack right here. I haven't opened it up, but you know, it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of stuff. You can get a small battery pack in there, but since they've already released the rechargeable, it would be kind of annoying if they release some new proprietary one in the future. So if you have a Chaos and a Nemesis, so you bought that rechargeable pack, but then for the next one you can't use that rechargeable pack, I know that would upset quite a few buyers. Beyond the size, select fire would be nice. Full auto is awesome. Select fire is better because sometimes you don't want to blow your whole load. You just want to blow part of it. But that would require reworking the whole feeding system with the conveyor system, so that would be pretty tricky to run a semi or 3-round burst with the conveyor system as they have it. And that type of overhaul kind of threatens the hopper viability, so that's an issue. So smaller, really challenging. Select fire, also really challenging. The next improvement is not difficult at all. It's to make the hopper taper the other way. It tapers to get smaller at the top, so the feeding port is really small. When you're running around moving, which is how the rival blasters are actually designed, by Hasbro to be used, they always have that red versus blue, those guys doing hardcore parkour on the rooftop, which, how did those kids, these kids are like 17 in the commercials, running around a rooftop, that's trespassing. I doubt they rented it out to play an actual Nerf war, and if anybody's parking up there, they're gonna get hit by a car. You don't mess around in parking lots, bros. Okay, it's just a commercial. It's not real. Whatever. But that hole could be expanded. Easy solution, I could probably just duct tape on some little walls, and I do plan to expand this hopper by putting on some type of paintball thing on top with a paintball feeding tube, and then using those little paintball pods to be able to reload the Nemesis a little bit faster. But that is obnoxious, and I spilled balls all over the place at Jared's Epic Nerf War 2 because I'm trying to get back into the game, getting shot at. I'm trying to go fast, and that's not designed in the optimal way. So that's a pretty easy fix. It looks super sexy and sleek, and I get why they did it, the ergonomics of the blaster and the overall cosmetics, sure, but it's not as functional as it could be. The next one, the hop-up system could be revised. All of the rival blasters use a little hop-up system, which works in a similar way to airsoft guns. It just has a little flap, so when the ball goes through it, it creates a backspin on it, so then when it's in the air, the little dimples on the ball can catch the air and then kind of have a little hop-up, or they float upward. Without gravity, a projectile would just fire in a straight line. With gravity, they go like this, but with a hop-up system, it kind of curves upward, so then it curves up and then curves down and extends the range, and it shoots it on a flatter trajectory. Most of the rival blasters are fine, but all of my freaking ending a blaster with S. Most of the rival blasters are fine, but the rival Nemesis kind of shoots on a lower trajectory. It doesn't shoot like parallel to the barrel. It's just a minor thing that kind of bothers me. And it makes using a red dot or anything at all on this rail just impractical completely. So, fix yo hop-up system, Nemesis. And last, but certainly not least, what is the Nemesis lacking? Tactics, bro. There's only one rail. Where are my tactics? Give me my tactics. I have a disease and my doctor prescribed tactics. I need more cowbell. Or tactics, not cowbell. It's too late for me to be filming this video. Beyond the rails, I think it would be cool to have adjustable stocks. So like going with my first point, make it smaller. If you cut off the stocks and put the battery, I don't know, somewhere, and then had a stock attachment point from the in-strike line, you could add whatever stock you want. The front barrel, I get that it's probably never going to happen because kids would complain that they're not cross-compatible. And the rival blasters are more based on performance instead of like the tactics, which I get, but having a cool stock is, I like to customize my stuff. All of the rival blasters are just kind of out of the box, good to go. You don't really do anything to them. And that's not as much fun. I need my tactics, bro. Hasbro, I can get a note from my mom if you want. That disease. I need more tactics. Give me more support. I'll stop now. So that is my list of what is beyond the Nemesis. So pretty much how to improve the Nemesis. Like I'm not even asking for something like new, just Nemesis V2. That's really what I'm asking for. Although a new name that doesn't end in S would be great because then you can like pluralize it a little easier. Saying Nemesis is silly. On BT Tubs, on that note, saying Nemesis apostrophe is not right. That is not pluralizing. That is giving ownership to the Nemesis. Like IT apostrophe S, under no circumstances is this it's possessional. It is always a contraction of it is. Yeah, getting some grammar up in here. Now I'm getting all amped up. It drives me freaking crazy. What I would otherwise deem as credible websites have IT apostrophe S showing possession over the its. And it's like, guys, you're trying to be real here. Like, and that is my list. And to restate, I'm not trying to complain. I'm not saying the Nemesis is like a bad blaster. It is my favorite Nerf blaster on the market, right? The blue one. I don't even like holding this one, but I've modified, or I have some GoPro stuff on that. But it's my favorite blaster. I do believe it's the most like performance-oriented, superior blaster. I don't like to use the word, but it's the best Nerf blaster out right now. I think as far as blaster on blaster, blaster on Zambi, blaster on anything, this is OPS. Bros. Restating that only because it's not like I'm complaining, but if we say, okay, it's good enough, let's just stop innovating, let's just stop advancing. If we do that in any parts of our lives, what are we doing? I do not accept mediocrity. So, you know, if you're tasked with designing a Nerf blaster, do the best you can. And now we can do it better. And that is it. Why make this video? Mostly to share my thoughts on this because I've had this question a few times and I've also just kind of talking with other Nerfers, like what can we do? And if you look at my wish list video from way back in the day, all of my wishes have come true as if Hasbro watched my video. I have no idea if they actually did. It's probably just coincidence. More accurate Nerf darts, IMR or Trust Fire Ready blasters, and Select Fire. They didn't make the Rapid Strike Uzi, but like I said in that video, it's unlikely because that would be like overpowered. Although they made the Nemesis, which is also overpowered, so I don't know. But that's my view on the issue. What would you like to see in the next blaster that's above the Nemesis? Primarily in the rival line. The dart blasters it's so different that, you know, the evolution there is well, actually the regulators Select Fire. What can we go beyond that? Magazine fed Select Fire? Outside of modding to make the performance a little better, but Hasbro can't do that out of the box because they're lawyers. You know, the liability of shooting a kid with something traveling 200 FPS. Murphy's Law and all, and with the world population, somebody will like poke an eye out with one of those. So, you know, we can't really complain about velocity, but rate of fire, full auto, Select Fire, we have everything. I mean, where else can we go? I'd love to hear your opinion. Leave a comment in the section below. That's this discussion style vlog video. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay tactical.